Research on the archaeology of Bari's coastal and underwater landscape were carried out as a part of a specific project, the port system between antiquity and the Middle Ages, underwater archaeology and the coastal landscape from Bari to Bisceglie, launched in 2016 and still underway by the University of Bari Aldo Moro in collaboration with the Superintendency of Archaeology of Bari. The project stands for the need to integrate to knowledge framework related to ports to the landing from the constructive, topographic, and socioeconomic and navigation dynamics relating to the central area of Puglia, which is not yet systematically investigated. Starting from the pioneering phase of underwater archaeological research carried out between the late 1550s and the early 70s of the 20th century, the archaeology of the coast of central Puglia was conducted only sporadically and referred to random finds. This approach to the diversified research compared to the northern and southern territories has created a lack of homogeneity of knowledge. The coastal area of central Puglia could be defined as the Cinderella of Puglia, due to the absence of research. Starting from 2030, however, a change in trend could have been registered for this situation. The coastal and underwater archaeological reconnaissance project carried out at Cala San Giorgio, a bay placed at approximately 70 kilometers southeast of Bari, linked to the translatio of the relics of the San Nicholas from Mira to Bari in 1087, used as the penultimate stage of the return journey by the 62 sailors engaged in this venture, known in the sources as Portus Sancti Georgi Island. The height potential of this site were areas of ceramic, metal, and stone artifacts dating for the end of the 4th century BC have been documented, with a phase of attendance during the Roman period, the Byzantine medieval period, and reach the contemporary age. Also, along the Bari coast, preventive surveys were carried out between the Fesca and San Girolamo locations in 2014, and those related to the project underway in the summer of 2018 at Torre Mare, which inaugurated from submerged sites to be merged those of the coast, linked to the variegated form of the economy of the sea, as for example for exploitation of the liquid resource, counting different types of quarry for the extraction of parallelepiped and circular rocks intended for building, architecture, and hypothetically for make millstones for olive or cereals. The coast and underwater archaeological investigation of the Bari have been carried out since 1970 and have affected the eastern side of the peninsula, chosen from the Bronze Age and occupied up to the contemporary age as the residential settlement. The surveys have proven to be useful for obtaining data on the positioning of archaeological sites in relation to connects that were known until now only through generic indications and provided by local historians or by fishermen and sport divers. Between the 50s and 60s of the 20th century were recovered finds from the Lungomare Imperatore Augusto from the seafront of the St. Nicholas Church, the Old Port, and the Lungomare Nazario Salvo. The recoveries are related to different classes of finds, trapezoidal latic anchors and lead block of Roman age anchor and lead sounder. Quantitatively more numerous are the amphor that still provide data on the frequentation of the coast of Bari from the last quarter of the 6th and the first quarter of the 5th century BC, with Corinthian B, archaic, Greek Italic, Lambolia II and Wrestle C 6A, and starting from the 3rd, 4th century AD, the African transport containers, and the 50th century AD are circulating in Bari. Those coming from the Eastern Mediterranean, late Roman 1, 2, and 12, there is no shortage of the evidence that finds from the modern and contemporary age. This is the late antiquity amphor. In the 20th and 70th surveys were also the same. For educational and didactic purposes, as they allowed a group of Aldomoro Bari's university students to participate directly in the field activities and in the subsequent ones of the laboratory on the finds, carried out in collaboration with the superintendency for the planning of the phases of the research, with the Coast Guard of Bari, which has provided means and the specialized personnel, and the Cultural Association Centro Subcorato for the logistic support and the photo-video documentation. The underwater service was carried out the Fortino di Sant'Antonio at Secca del Monte or Monte Rosso, and along Lungomare Imperatore Augusto near the San Nicolas Church. The underwater service of the Lungomare Imperatore Augusto have allowed to document a large position of the seabed affected by large concentration of archaeological finds within an area of approximately 5,000 square meters away from the current coastline, approximately 130 meters. The 12 referenced underwater topographic units have been documented within bathymetric depths between 4 and 6 meters to obtain precise data on the nature of the deposit and to reconstruct a distribution plan of the same. We proceeded to carry out a sampling within a polygon defined by 7 underwater topographic units corresponding to approximately 1,000 square meters, detailing the evidence through a digital photogrammetry survey that has embedded the data to management also through 3D reprocessing. Among the ceramics classes surveyed, the most numerous remains that of the amphora, and among these important in the tip of an amphora Corinthia A of the -7 early 6th century BC, as it is currently the oldest amphora attested along the coast of Bari, and opens new scenarios to the frequentation of this coast for the commerce and consumption of foodstuffs, probably oil or also imported wine. Dynamics already known for Salento and the Adriatic Low. The presence of Greco-Italic, together with the more widespread Lambolia II and flat-bottomed amphora for goods comings for North Africa, testify to a fervent commercial activity of the Bari market, activity until the middle of the 17th century AD. Next to the transport containers, there is also the table ceramics with plates by African red slip ware from the beginning of the 5th century AD. The most numerous presence is given by containers and goods produced in the Eastern Mediterranean. The late Roman 1, 2, 3, and above all, the late Roman 12, the latter within the Mediterranean basins, but strangely numerous in the underwater context of Bari. The recovered specimens are characterized by the presence of pH on the internal surface and on the bottom, a treatment that would refer to the wine content. The work of classification and the graphic documentation has allowed us to reconstruct the late Roman 12 specimen and obtain a 3D model, increasing the information on morphology of this container better known for the upper portion found in Marseilles. The capacity calculation returned the value of approximately 14 letters that would correspond to the modus castrensis mentioned in the Edict of Diocletian, and equal to approximately 24 sextari, 1 sextarius equivalent to 539 liters. Also, worthy of note are late Roman seaware bowls, which also in this case are for the first time attested in the underwater context of the central coast of Puglia, referable in 243 by A's classification and dated to the 56th century AD on a specimen in particular, a cross-shaped stamp is still visible, which reference to this period the shelves of pots of cooking ware and the basins in commonware shall be added, while the works of Byzantine and medieval amphora, Autotype 1 and 2 appear in smaller. Once these underwater topographic units have been georeferenced, instrumental surveys have been planned, using the multibeam and the sub-bottom profiler, thanks to the collaboration with the Department of Earth Sciences and the Biology Department of University of Bari. The operation was carried out between 2017 and 2018 and allowed to highlight 3 anomalies interpreted in the absence of data as accumulation of lithic elements. A first 3 anomalies is this. A first anomaly has been identified in the northwest portion of the coast at the tip of the peninsula. It is a combination consisting of blocks oriented with a southeast-northwest trend and has an extension of 125 meters and wide of the port median 30 meters with a depth at base of 5 meters at minimum, at the top of 3 meters. The second, on the other hand, appeared to be a more structured anomaly characterized by squared and continuously positioned blocks. It was possible to identify 2 levels of this probable submerged structure, a deeper one and with larger dimension with evident function of foundation for the upper level, and the other superimposed on the latter with a perimeter minor. The alignment of these blocks is oriented in a northeast-southwest direction. The possibility of having identified a lot of a lapidary shape was discounted by intervening in the data obtained from the multi-beam scan with those of the sub-bottom profiler. This is the structure. This is a sub-bottom profiler. This latest survey made it possible to record the presence of further squares blocks barely visible on the seabed and put in place using the same technique. Located in the southwest portion and positioned near one of the breakwater created in the 80s of the 20th century. Reconstructing and prolonging the perimeter lines of these structures, one realizes that they rejoin and hypothetically reach the coastline up to the area behind the St. Nicholas Church. The most recent steps of the survey of this. Okay. share this. Going to the areas that include the structure have underwater archaeological surveys. The operational way to register 28 underwater topographic units identify with accumulation areas of metallic, ceramics, and lithics finds. As evidence, the mooring activities is important to point out the presence of the rail steel trunk pyramidal lithic with a hole positioned in the upper portion, equivalent to the classical age, and which is compared with the specimen documented in Puglia, in the wreck of La Madonnina A, along the southeast coast of Taranto from the end of the 4th century BC. Even the specimen found in the signal is smaller. I'm going. An explicit reference to the port of Bari, on the other hand, is provided by Livio, who puts it regarding the events of 181 as the easternmost naval base of the Roman defensive system against pirates. Strabo considers it is an obligatory stop on the Adriatic route, and at the end, the port, however, never researched in a particular commercial importance in Roman times, seemed to be inferred from a passage of the Annals of Tacitus, where Bari is the destination for the exile of Silanus at the time of Nero. The analysis of the notable source of the 10th-15th century and the important historical cartography is possible see in the Portland of Gerard van Kouwen is possible to ascertain the presence to appear that starts from the coast toward the St. Nicholas Church and continues in the sea, the northeast direction. At the end, in 1977, Giulio Schmidt, in a conference dedicated to Mediterranean navigation in the early Middle Age, had affirmed with regard to the location of the port of Bari that the framework of the knowledge was poor, and there were different opinions from the historians, and that the solution of the problem should be entrusted to underwater archaeology. 40 years later, we limited observes the putting into practice what had been wisely indicated by the scholar, hoping to have added a piece to this knowledge. Thank you.